Guys, how are you? It's Kevin Schmidt out here, physical therapist, bike fitter, and founder of Pedal PT in beautiful Portland, Oregon. I want to talk a little bit about today. This is a great question we got and received, and this is probably one of those questions that we get fairly frequently, and it has to do a little bit about these little pieces right here, kind of what we call shims and wedges and things like that that go into people's shoes. So I think a lot of times we get the question and people say, do I need wedges in my shoes? Maybe I need wedges in my shoes. I'm having something with my knee. Maybe I need wedges, or maybe I need shims or anything like that. Let's talk about this a little bit. Honestly, as long as you're taking care of cleat position, as long as the cleat is positioned well, the width of stance is addressed, and saddle height is controlled for, we rarely, if ever, recommend wedges or shims for that matter. Now, there are some exceptions to the rule, of course, but I think in general, let's talk about the concept itself. So many bike fitters, especially depending on certain schools that learn from others that, interesting enough, also sell these wedges, also are very strong proponents of these. The idea is this, is that in your shoe, the idea is that if you push down on your foot, your forefoot, or kind of the front part of your foot, will flex in or roll inwards, or kind of the foot will tend to pronate a little bit more. So the idea being is, let's put a little bit of a wedge. I think this is about a 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter, where it's wider on one side, a little bit thinner there. So they put this inside the shoe with the idea to kind of lift up the foot, or kind of bring the foot up a little bit in there. So that's the concept. That's the idea. There's a lot of people that swear by these. Honestly, I really don't think they're necessary at all, guys. As long as you're, like I said, as long as you're addressing cleat position, width of stance, and saddle height, we use this as a kind of a last ditch resort. Oftentimes the people that tend to respond well to wedges, especially multiple wedges in their shoes, a lot of times just probably need a little bit more volume in the shoe itself. So that would be kind of one take on that. Also, the concept itself of this forefoot rolling over, I'm a little confused by, because there's never been a study that actually shows that this happens inside the shoe. The way the foot behaves when we pedal, when we're pedaling, we're in a plantar flex position slightly. The calf is acting as a stabilizer. So with the foot being very stable, the bony structures of the foot are designed to lock the foot down. So I'm not really convinced that there is a lot of play in that forefoot when we are in a plantar flexed position, pushing down through the pedals, or enough that 1 millimeter of lift is going to make much of a difference as well, you guys. Now, when it comes to shims, shims are a little bit different. And shim, this is the same width throughout the whole piece. And a lot of times they would put this under the shoe to almost make a difference or kind of adjust for a leg length difference. And in certain cases, I think that's worthwhile. I do have a couple clients of mine that have a several inch leg length difference. And especially if it's a short tibia, I think adding a little bit of some shims or anything like that to build the height of that, essentially to lengthen that leg to the pedal, can sometimes be useful in there. But like I said, oftentimes, as long as there's a minor leg length discrepancy, maybe a less than a 5 to 6 millimeter difference, probably unnecessary to need shims or wedges or anything like that. But please, I want to hear your take on that as well. Like I said, there's a lot of biases in this. Me personally, as a physical therapist who actually treats the feet, who does all that, I really feel that this is probably one of the most oversold pieces of equipment in bike fit, is these little pieces. And we tend to find that we're removing these a lot more often than we are recommend people putting them in there as well. But please leave your comments below. I'd love to hear about what your thoughts are, what your feeling is as well. Again, if you guys have questions, please reach out to us. It's your questions that keep this channel going. If anything was valuable today, or you had found interest in there, please click like and consider subscribing. And until next time, guys, again, Kevin Schmidt, physical therapist, bike fitter, out here at Pedal PT in Portland, Oregon. I'll see you next time. See ya.